Back now at the Small Burns. Cruising in Style, I believe this week, Mark Treffy had messaged me and said, we're probably looking to lay him off after this week. So, I'm not going to argue with Mark about it. The horse has had a long year. I mean, if he's my horse, we just ship him somewhere else and race him. But at the same time, this is a tricky situation. This horse means a lot to the stable, but means a ton to Mark and Michelle Treffy. And quite frankly, he's a middle-of-the-road horse. He floats around from, he's not quite an open trotter, but maybe somewhere upwards to the backup class or in the middle, what I would call an 18 to probably 20, 25 claimer. I had told Mark and committed to everybody that we would race this horse through the end of the season, and then we would likely sell our stake in that horse. The stable.ca would sell their stake in that horse. So I believe that's probably what we're going to do next week. I've talked to Mark briefly about it, but I don't see any reason in continuing on with cruising if Mr. Dickey, the trainer, plans on resting the horse or wanted to rest the horse. I don't think. I don't want to squash that. Oh, what a wife. Thanks, buddy boy. So I asked Amy, I said, this little tiny little thing's not going to do it. I got some videos to do here. What about a tea for me? She's a good girl. So Cruising in Style, I think Merry Christmas is in order. They want to turn him out for a reason, and the math makes sense. Give him a month off and have him ready for the start of Saratoga again. They want to race him there, and listen, I could push to send him to Dover or somewhere else, but here's a horse that's raced all year long. Now he's going to have to get corks on at some point. I think it's probably best just to file that under a good deed done, and a good deed for the horse and for Michelle and Mark, and we'll probably part ways with Cruising in Style after his next start. Jazzy Judy. Whew. She looked good the other day. As I said in another video, I'll confess. I called Tim Tetrick and Jim King and said, listen, the filly looked awesome. She's clearly probably the front runner heading into the second leg, where she's made the final for sure now, because there's only like 13 horses in the entire division right now. No, not even. There's 11 racing. 10 or 11 racing on Monday in the second leg of the Delaware Sires. What if we put her on gate? Because my thinking is simple. After this final, I don't know where you could possibly race a horse with that much money and that many wins on their card that isn't that good. I mean, she's not as good as Path of Totality, and that's where she would have to race, in Ohio, Pennsylvania. Now, before the stakes, the way Delaware wrote it, it's so cool, because Delaware recognizes, one, they have to bolster their program, and two, their horses are not competitive on the open market just yet. I'm sure they will get there someday. But like the political briefings and those types of horses that are in with Jazzy Judy, when that last leg is over, that's it. If they've made a bunch of money and have wins on their card like Judy, there's nowhere for a Jazzy Judy to race. There just isn't. So what Dover did, what Delaware did, the state before the stakes, and I really hope they continue on with it, is they just said, okay, you're right. None of the money or wins that they make in the Delaware Sires count. So Jazzy Judy's still a non-winner as a 2 horse. I don't know if they plan on continuing that after the stakes. I obviously hoped they did. But I obviously hoped they did. And when it came to Jazzy Judy especially, I was really hoping they would. So Jim said no, she'll be fine after the stakes. Hopefully they continue on with that trend. I mean, she can't do an hours of 7 anywhere. She can't do an hours of 200 life. They don't have such a thing. She's not good enough to race in the Meadowlands or Mohawk right yet. I think she can maybe grow into it, but growing into it means we have to race her and race her and race her and race her. That's not viable. So she'll stay in Dover with Jimmy, and hopefully those classes will continue after the Sire Stakes. First off, let's not look past the Sire Stakes. I hope she does great Monday. I hope she does great in the final, and then we'll worry about it after, I suppose. And that's kind of what Tim Tetrick said. He said, Anthony, just run the gauntlet with her if we can, and then worry about that stuff after. And I said, well, that's great. My thinking was, if I get paid as if I did run the gauntlet and got a little bit money extra, what would be the problem with that? But Jimmy said, no, there'll be classes here for us. So Jazzy Judy will hang on to her now. Adrenaline Rush, walking, I reported him as swimming. He hasn't been swimming yet. They've been walking him on the walker an hour a day, Travis said. So that's exactly what he needed. Travis said he'll have him in the pool within the week. So he's been walking for an hour a day in a sand ring, and then he will go into the pool at Travis's place. So really happy with the rehab of this horse and how he's coming along. I mean, he might have been tired. He might have needed rest. He might have been hurting in other places. This, although I'm really trying hard to put a silver lining on a broken bone, this may have been a rest and an opportunity for this horse to mature, grow up, and when he comes back, sound and 100%, because those injuries generally do. It's such a weight-bearing bone. If it's healed properly and rehabbed properly, those generally do come back pretty well at 100%. So I'm hoping that Adrenaline Rush may step up. Keep in mind, it wasn't like he was a bad horse. If he can find a second, just 1 second, he could race at Mohawk in the 15 claimer, now wears a whatever, up to 60, 70,000. So there's lots of places to race him. Now, if he comes back a second slower, obviously you guys know what we have. We have a 7 claimer. But that's horse racing, right? We played the hand that we're dealt with this cracked bone. We healed it. We rehabbed it properly. We're bringing him back, and I truly hope that he turns out well for us because he is a nice horse to be around. So Adrenaline Rush, cruising in style, 3-point blue chip. That's the longest the Small Barns for 3 horses has ever run, 6 minutes and 30 seconds. But I'm in a talkative mood. Take care.